So, you know, sometimes when people say raw, they think it's a green salad. So I wanted to show you tonight that it's
challenge people that need you to speak right into it.
It's I just wanted to show you tonight that it can be very diversified. You know, I've made anything from pizza crust to bread to
Apple pie.
yeah, many desserts, many delicious desserts. And I just wanted to let you know that tonight you're eating Asian, the spicy Thai salad, Mediterranean with the tabbouli. How many have had a tabbouli before? Good. Let me tell you about this tabbouli.
Quinoa.
I put quinoa in it instead of bulgur wheat because bulgur wheat, well, some people just can't eat wheat. So I decided to make it gluten-free. So that's why it looked like it turned out really well. When I tasted it, it tasted really, really good. So your third one is, you know, how do you like the dessert? That little, you get that little dessert. Look. Well, I was experimenting one day, and I said, I need something to take to the pickleball courts when I go to play pickleball, and instead of buying them, so I just started experimenting, and I come up with that. It's way better than the ones that you can buy in the store.
Okay, so they love it all. What's the first one you're going to tell us how to make?
Just check this.
I'm sorry. The first one is going to be the first one is going to be the...
That made a big difference. You're all set now.
Yeah, sorry. It's going to be the taco meat, okay? One of the things when I started eating healthy was I really missed the taco salads, really, really bad. So I found this taco meat. It's very simple. Put it in this little food processor, and you're done, and it's very delicious. So I'm gonna just show you. So whenever you have any nuts, always soak them, and then you can soak them sometimes 3 hours, sometimes overnight. And some nuts need soaking a little bit more than others. But walnuts, what happens to walnuts when you soak them, it releases an enzyme that, you know, sometimes people say that walnuts taste bitter. Well, if you soak them, then you rinse that water, and then you rehydrate them, dehydrate them. I put them in my dehydrator. You can put them in your oven. So, and then it takes away that bitterness. So it's going to be the taco meat.
Can you use pecans instead of walnuts?
Yeah, you can use any kind of nut that you like. Yeah. So there's the taco seasoning. It's below. Let me tell you, that is a game changer. If you ever go in the grocery store, taco seasoning usually has a lot of bad stuff in it if you read the ingredients. So there's a little cayenne, a little tamari, coriander, cumin, and looks like I got an extra one. I pulse a lot. You just pulse it because you don't want your nuts to be really fine, so you just pulse them in your food processor.
So you just want them to look about the size of hamburger. And we'll see in the next recipe what happens if you keep going longer than that.
There you go, and you're done. Okay?
Recipe number 1, are we impressed? Yes. Did anybody time that?
The next one's going to be a tabbouli. So I'll tell you what, when I make it at home,
Will you need this machine again?
No. When I make tabbouleh at home, one thing about parsley is you have to wash it really well because there's a lot of sand in it. I went to a restaurant one time, ordered a tabbouleh. This is a Middle Eastern restaurant, and let me tell you, it was gritty. We sent it back, they brought another one back, and it was gritty. So somebody tried to cut corners and didn't wash it. So depending on, just pulse it in your, you can actually use a knife and just cut it. You don't have to put it in a food processor, but I love my food processor. So I've already put it in the food processor. So I like lots of veggies. This isn't traditional for a tabouli salad, but I've just changed it up. I add lots of veggies. I made it for the quinoa for you guys. I don't usually put even quinoa in mine. And of course the tomatoes. You can use green onion, you can use sweet onion, and a little mint. If you don't use mint in it, it just doesn't get the right taste. You just have to have mint. A little lemon, lime. This is what I always do. 2 limes to 1 lemon. So I usually at home, I always use two bunches. I don't make it unless I always use 2 bunches, and that's the consistency, and it always seems to be great.
By bunches, are you meaning the parsley?
Mm-hmm, the bunches of parsley. And I just drizzle a little bit of olive oil in there because I don't really like the taste of olive oil too much, but that's what I do. My sister, first time she had my tabbouleh, she's like, wow, this is really great. And so I just have been making my tabbouleh that way for years.
My husband is not a green lover. If it's green, it's probably not on his top 10 list of favorite foods. But tabbouleh is something that it has that mixture of so many seasonings and other flavors that he will sit down and eat an entire plate and not want anything else for dinner. And he's getting all that parsley.
By putting quinoa is alkaline to the body. It's an alkaline food, so by putting quinoa in it, also it helps it to feel more filling.
So she's referring to what foods do in our body, the way they're burned. And an easy way to remember is most of the foods that aren't very good for us are acid, and they cause us to have more of it toward the acid in our blood.
Yeah.
And so by eating these, they balance out to where the body isn't set up for disease and inflammation.
Yeah.
It does the opposite.
And there you go.
So parsley, if you eat 1 chopped cup, you get 1/2 gram of fat. But guess how much fiber? Would you think? I always think of green leaves as having the vitamins, but not the fiber. Guess how much fiber is in 1 cup of parsley? 2 grams. It's as much as a very healthy slice of bread, a very healthy bread. And you don't often think of green leaves that way, but it's got a good amount of fiber. It also has almost 2 grams of protein. Do you think, boy, I haven't had enough protein today, I better get some green leaves? But it's in there, and it's in a good amount. Parsley is known for aiding the body in 13 ways, benefiting the health. I'm going to go through them quickly. Yes. Strengthening the bones, boosting brain health, improving eye health, helps to regulate blood sugar, so anyone who's headed toward or is diabetic, enhancement of healthy hair growth, serves as a rich source of antioxidants, relieves symptoms of anemia, so that would be low iron levels, has antibacterial effects. Is that not amazing? It's a little bit like taking a mild dose of antibiotic. Parsley is full of vitamins. It improves kidney health, aids in digestion. aids in heart health, and enhances liver health. All in those little green leaves that you just ate and loved.
So,
all right, we have
one more thought about parsley is, you know, in the Middle East, you know, it's eaten all the time in the Middle East. Do you see very many people in the Middle East wearing glasses? You know, you don't really see that a lot. So just a thought. So it'll make you want to eat it more like once a week, huh? Yeah. Okay. The next demonstration is going to be this cheese sauce that you guys ate.
This is probably one of the most versatile recipes that you could have, is a plant-based cheese sauce. And Sher's brought you a recipe tonight that is very creamy and mild. So those of you that don't like the extra seasonings, there are other things you can add to it. But this one's going to be very mild, other than, what's the punch that you're going to pack?
Well, some of the cheese sauces that are out there, those recipes, come with nutritional yeast. They call for nutritional yeast, and a lot of people can't eat nutritional yeast.
Some people are allergic.
So I love this one. And listen, as many times as I've made this recipe, it's turned out perfect every time. I've never had it not turn out. So I love that.
The amazing thing about cashews is they thicken. They are beautifully thickened into a very creamy, thick sauce.
And you can soak your cashews like even overnight. If you soak them even overnight, it just softens them and it makes them more creamy in your recipes.
Do you use raw or roasted?
The question is whether she uses raw or roasted cashews.
Raw. Raw. So here it is. I'm just going to turn this around. In my blender, I always put the stuff that's the softest first. That would be the liquid. I'm just going to put this. The liquid, the bell pepper, and I think I got it, and a little bit. Now, you know, Himalayan pink salt, that's what I use now. I used to use sea salt, now I just use Himalayan pink salt, okay?
The reason for that is the high mineral content. And those minerals that we need, just trace amounts every day.
So, here it is.
Here's where you want to have a good blender.
I need the thingies. The
tamper.
tamper.
Okay, we'll get it.
Okay. So we usually have a tamper and it goes down into this little hole, but I don't have it. It keeps it down into the blade and it just keeps it moving. So we'll improvise. And you can add a little bit more liquid if you need to.
The nice thing is it's going to thicken even if you have to add a little more.
Yeah.
And if you have the type of blender that's a really high-speed, heavy-duty blender, by the time you're done getting it nice and creamy, it'll be hot and you have a hot cheese sauce. But then when you put it in the fridge, it's going to thicken up even more. The next day,
It will.
You could cut it with a butter knife.
Yeah. We really need the tamper, but you guys got the idea.
Yeah, it's being searched for right now, and hopefully it'll be with us in a minute.
You know, you guys, you tasted the cheese sauce. You can already see in the bottom of this how the bottom part is already cheesy. It's, you know, so even if we can't get it all mixed up tonight, you guys got the idea. And I love this cheese sauce. And depending on how you want to spice it up.
So when you need to have something for the Super Bowl, but you're trying to eat whatever, plant-based or raw or whatever you're trying to do more of, you add a little spiciness and people will like it. A couple ingredients that she chose to give a nice creamy mild one tonight, but you can add tahini. That adds a bite a little bit like grilled cheese. If you like a strong cheese, then that's what you would add. Here it comes.
Thanks. We'll see.
And then the nutritional yeast is the other thing. Nutritional yeast does add the benefit of the B vitamins. So if you are on a plant-based diet only, that's a nice way to get some of your B12 and your other B vitamins.
There you go.
And it's nice that you have both the recipe for the taco meat and the cheesy sauce. I always call them that. I'm not sure what your title is. But it's really good over. You just open up a baked potato, pour the cheesy sauce over, and then sprinkle that meat on top. That makes a delicious entree. Question or comment? Let me come to you.
You're mentioning the nutritional yeast. Which recipe would that go into, and how much of it would you use?
I didn't present a recipe with nutritional yeast tonight, but usually it's about, I don't know, a quarter a cup, I think, in most recipes, in the cheese sauces. I think so, something like that. Give or take, however you like it. The tahini is the same way. Tahini is, I don't like tahini too much, so I usually put 1 tablespoon in my stuff. Other people will make a dressing and use half a cup or 3/4 of a cup. So it's, raw food is how you like it. It's just how you like it.
And we have a question over here. How long will it last in the refrigerator? It doesn't last very long at your house, does it?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. So I'm going to say maybe 3 or 4 days is all I would leave it in.
And I'm sorry, this will be our last question. We are a little bit over time.
There was some question about tamari versus bread versus soy sauce. Why do you use tamari?
Yeah, because I can get it without wheat. The tamari, low sodium, is without wheat. And I try to be gluten-free. So I read ingredients and everything. And so that's why I use tamari.
And to his question, if you're interested in it not being fermented, the Bragg's is not correct. So Bragg's liquid aminos is an alternative that's not fermented.
We can take a few more questions.
Oh, we've been granted a little more time.
If you have questions.
All right, wonderful. Are there some more?
Also, I just wanted to let you know, adding raw food into your diet, I'm not saying be completely raw, but it's such a beneficial benefit for your whole body. Like, I can give you example after example of when, situations have come up, they're sick, they eat raw, they get well. it just happens over and over again, and that's the reason why I add it to my diet so much.
You don't have servings on here.
I know.
So the question is, how many servings for the 3 recipes that we've been given tonight, or the 3 that were demonstrated?
I know. I don't.
So you need to understand that Sher is one of these precious commodities that we have. There are these people who just create on their own. They know the science of food innately, and they throw stuff together, and then we say, will you come show the rest of us how? And they, okay, so I'll try to write it down on a page. So I find these people, you get the best you can from them. I have a girlfriend very similar from Brazil, amazing food, never has a recipe. I said, just give me the list, I'll figure it out. Just give me your ingredients. It was so good, I'll figure it out. So to some extent, that is what you have to do, and that's really the purpose tonight, is to go home and experiment, ladies and gentlemen, because we're coming back in a month, and you need to have some stories to tell of what you've figured out at home on the in between.
Like the taco meat is 1.5 cups of walnuts, so you can see it's gonna be about 1.5 cups. You know, the rest, the ingredients is just to flavor and make it wet enough to blend or to, you know, mix up. Okay?
I love that idea that you just had, to have a sharing time.
Definitely.
With whatever you've experimented with these recipes.
Yeah.
We'll have the opportunity for somebody to share a little bit, maybe 1 or 2 people. You don't want to make it a super long meeting, but keep that in mind next time. Go home, experiment.
Yeah, maybe even
play
a
around with
paper to
stuff.
write and share. Yeah. So maybe we'll have a paper or something where everyone can share, but we won't stand up and listen to all of us for 2 hours. But yes, because you know that's where the real bang for your buck is. You can come and hear recipes, and you can sit down and eat what someone else has made, but if you don't go home and try it and share with your friends and come back and share your successes and failures, then the group effort is really lost. So that's the strength in what we're doing here, and we'll plan for it for next time. Any last words of wisdom from our expert?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I've had vertigo twice in my life, and every time I say, I know what I need to do, I start juicing, I start eating raw, and the vertigo goes away. So that's just an example of
And it's
how
not
beneficial.
just with vertigo. We prove it over and over with the immersion program. The thing is, we exhibit different types of disease depending on our own genetics, but the causes are pretty much the same, and so the fix is pretty much the same.
It is. It is.